Oh, go away, Genevieve. Go ahead. Oh, go on, Genevieve. You know I'm ticklish.
Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here. Time to get on your Indiana Jones hats as we're going on an African safari in our first film of our month-long salute to the comedian Mantan Moreland. He started in vaudeville back in the 20s before making the move over to films, and as a black actor, he of course mainly played servants, bellboys, what are they called, on trains, porter, and bartenders and such, but he was known for his comedic skill, and one of his signature bits had been perfected in vaudeville with his partner Ben Carson, Ben Carter. Ben Carson's a surgeon. Ben Carter, called the indefinite conversation, where they would finish each other's sentences in the middle before they would actually name what they were talking about. It'd go along lines of like, didn't I see you with, oh yeah, just the other day, he wasn't doing too good. We were out by the, no, you weren't there. I saw you over by the, oh, that's right, we went there after. You know, it's like that kind of thing. And it would just go on like that, where they would have an entire conversation. You'd have no idea who they were talking about or what was going on. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold. In film, he was not only a favorite actor and comedian, he was also a writer, writing a lot of his own material, especially during the Poverty Road movies, which was where he mostly appeared. Although he did make some small appearances in other films, most of his really great roles came in the low-budget film area, the independent cinema. He was also the co-star in 2 mystery series for Monogram. The first, which did not have an overarching title, teamed him with former child actor Frankie Darro, who himself would have a very long, prolific career. He started as a child in serials and then graduated to B movies and television, where you'd see him pop up on everything from Red Skelton to Peter Gunn to even Batman. He and Moreland would play bellhops at a hotel in which they were constantly getting caught up in murder mysteries and organized crime schemes and espionage and all kinds of crazy stuff. His second was Monogram's Charlie Chan series, which they had taken over from MGM when they canceled the series out in the early 40s. And again, for the time, Charlie Chan was usually played by a white actor, and he stayed with that series up until its end in 1949. When we get into the 50s, unfortunately, times have changed, And what had once been considered very funny was now being considered derogatory, stereotype, demeaning, and he was losing work. He did make several what they call party albums, in which he told a lot of, let's say, off-color jokes, or jokes you wouldn't say in mixed company, as your parents might say. And he almost became one of the Three Stooges. When Shemp Howard died, Mantan was one of the people considered as a replacement for the rest of the shorts they were contracted to make. But the studio wanted someone who was already under contract to Columbia Studios. So Mantan and the other comedians they had thought about were out, and they eventually settled on Joe Besser. Never got into Joe Besser. But in the 60s, early 70s, he did start to get more work. You'd see him pop up in things like the Bill Cosby show and the sitcom Julia, which was the first sitcom to star a black woman as the lead. And he appeared in Jack Hill's Spider Baby with Lon Chaney Jr. Sadly, they did not share any scenes. As well as Melvin Van Peebles' Watermelon Man, a very biting satire of the day. And Roger Corman's Young Nurses, one of his sex comedies from the early 70s. Before sadly passing away at the age of 73. This film, Law of the Jungle, we start out with a young woman named Nona Brooks, who is stuck in a small African trader town.
Oh, the mail got in.
Yes, the boat arrived about an hour ago.
Did my passport get here?
Sorry, it'll probably be on the next boat.
Yeah, seems she's stuck there. No passport. To make ends meet, although not much, she's working as a singer at the cafe and getting room and board. No money. So she can't even afford to go to Cape to get out. The proprietor, who we saw there, is Jerry O'Connor, who is a very, very prolific character actor. He's appeared in tons of stuff. He's appeared in Matt Helm films with Dean Martin. He's appeared in Elvis films. He's appeared in TV shows, countless. He was in They Only Kill Their Masters with James Garner. But my personal favorite is he played one of the generals in Fantastic Voyage, who were monitoring the heroes as they traversed the person they're trying to save's bloodstream to get to a clot that they can take out with a laser. Really good movie. And features Raquel Welch. Anyway, turns out her passport had arrived. He's not giving it to her. He wants to keep her there. Why? Never explained. And then these two guys, Grossman and Belk, come in, and things get even crazier.
Yes, something to worry about. It seems we're about to have a visitor from the British intelligence.
British intelligence?
You can afford to be quiet. Has the girl's passport arrived?
Yes. And I didn't give it to her.
Good. I'll take care of it for her.
Why does he want it? No idea. Never explained. Anyway, we get our introduction to Mantan as he is fleecing the guess you call them carriers, porters. The men that carry all the supplies in the safari.
Ah, boxcars, I'll win again. Shower down, little lambs, I'll shoot it off.
Yeah. He's saying that 2 ones wins. Well, Anna comes upon this, and she's not too impressed with him.
Have your own rules?
You see, we playing a different kind of game than regular dice.
I can see that. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, cheating those poor safari boys.
I is ashamed, ma'am. Honest, I is. But don't tell them boys, because I want to keep on living till I get back to good old USA.
Learning that Jeff is a gentleman's gentleman to Professor Mason, who is a paleontologist, getting ready to head off into the jungle to dig up bones. She approaches Mason, hoping to maybe get a loan so that she can get to Cape Town and get her passport there. Simmons sees them start a conversation and pulls Mason aside and tells him that Nona is a notorious con woman who will give him some sob story to get money out of him. Well, I think you can guess what his reaction is going to be when Nona does ask him for a loan.
To believe that I'm pretty fair game for a woman of your type. But as they say in American slang, I'm the kind of a sucker that gets an even break.
Oh, wait a minute, Professor. You've got it all wrong. I'm not trying to clip you. Honest, I'm not.
Whatever it is you want, you won't get it from me.
That baritone-voiced man is John Dusty King, a second banana Western hero. Basically, he was Ray Crash Corrigan's partner in the Range Busters series of low-budget westerns Monogram made, along with Max Terhune, who had been in the Three Musketeers at Republic. Oh, I should mention the female lead there, Arlene Judge, who she was, I can't say popular. She worked a lot in the 30s and 40s, and then gradually faded out. Made films with names like Wildcat and The Contender, Chained Women, you know. Or is that Caged Women? Girls in Chains. One of her later films was playing the landlady in The Crawling Hand. Anyway, Professor Mason and his safari leave. They're heading into the jungle to dig up them bones. Meanwhile, Nona's now got to perform again at the cafe when the British intelligence agent enters and a little bit of espionage takes a deadly turn.
What's wrong?
Make way here, make way. One side, please, one side.
That side.
What's happened?
Somebody knifed him.
Yeah, pretty exciting stuff. The thief hid the papers in Nona's jacket, which she grabbed and then ran. Well, the police are interested in her because she might have been a witness because she was standing right there. And Simmons learns from his cohort what happened to the document. So he has to head out into the jungle to notify Grossman and Belt. Meanwhile, out in the jungle, which is where everybody seems to be now, there's a little problem with the safari. The bears feel that it is bad for the professor to be digging up bones. It's bad. Bad magic. Jeff explains this to Mason, and Mason says, well, I'm about finished with these. Why don't you go back there and bury them? Me? By myself? Yes. And of course, Nona shows up and scares the bejeebers out of him.
I'm gonna put these bones to rest. I'm gonna bury these bones. I'm gonna bury these bones. I'm gonna put these bones to rest.
Jeff!
Let me out of here! Let me out of here!
Jeff!
The reason Jeff was singing was because Mason told him if he gets scared, just sing. His voice would drive any ghost away. Ha ha ha. Anyway, eventually, they find her, collapse in the jungle, and take her back to camp, where Mason thinks, well, the natives, they don't like having that girl there. So the next day, he will send her back. They don't need any more talk of bad juju and all that stuff. Meanwhile, Simmons has caught up to Grossman's and Belt's safari and told them where the papers are. He then demands his payment, which they don't really have, but they'll get it to him. But in the meantime, he can take what he wants from their supplies for his trip back, at which point they give him his real payment. I wonder what that guy's deal is. Well, maybe we'll find out later. Anyways, that night, Nona's starting to feel like, maybe this Mason isn't such a bad guy after all, and wants to sit out in the moonlight with him.
Just pretend I'm a skeleton or something. That ought to make you feel at home. Isn't that more comfortable?
Yes?
You see, you are human after all.
Well, I gotta be turning in.
Dude! Come on! Old-fashioned, I guess. Well, the next day, the plan to send Nona back with a bearer doesn't come to pass because first Grossman and Belt show up demanding the girl, pretending to be jungle police. But when they refuse to show him their badges, they get thrown out because the bearers got spears. Then the real police show up, and Mason throws them out too, only to find that, those were real constables. Well, best thing for them to do is to pack up and head out to another village. So they pack up and head out. But unfortunately, Grossman and Belt have hired some other natives to take care of that safari. Unfortunately, all the bearers get shot and killed. Our three remaining heroes run for it, get kind of separated, and Jeff has a bit of a mishap.
Mr. Larry! Mr. Larry! You better come and get me. If you don't, I'm a sunk duck. Mr. Larry! Good gracious, wonder where could he fight?
This turns out to be fortuitous, as they are trying to pull Jeff out before he gets eaten by a alligator or is a crocodile in the African jungle. Might be crocodile. Anyway, they also discover, you don't need those, that just happens to be a little cave by that water that they can hide in, because you can't see it from anywhere but the very edge of the bank. And so they go in, where Nona finally figures out, or finally discovers, the papers, and we get an idea of what the heck has been going on this whole time.
Well, looks like an official document of some kind. It is. It's the report of a British intelligence agent named Hobson. About a plot to start an uprising among the natives.
Turns out, Grossman and Belt are agents of the Third Reich. Simmons is also named in the report, but since he's been taken out, doesn't matter. So, getting smart, Mason hides the papers in one of the skulls they found in the cave. And then settle in for the night, where, from the clip I showed in the beginning, they get a nighttime visitor.
Say something. What do you say to a gorilla? Say anything. Come on, look at me. I'm the bait for this monkey trap. Not him, me. Come on now. Come on, look right into the light now. Look at the little bug there in the light while Mr. Larry get his killing tools. Come on. That's it. Hold it. Go away now. I ain't done nothing to you.
He's dead.
Are you sure?
Certainly.
I'm with her. That was one tough gorilla. Also, that introduces and ends the horror portion of this film. Unfortunately for our threesome trio, those shots bring natives and they're captured. At which point, Jeff feels they may be in the hands of cannibals.
That's nonsense, Jeff. These natives aren't cannibals.
Oh, yes, it is. Look at that. They got a kettle out there big enough to fricassee us all.
You think they are cannibals?
Even if they are, they wouldn't dare do that to white people.
Yeah, but maybe they want some dark meat.
And there you have a great example of Mantan's self-deprecating humor. And you're like, they wouldn't dare eat white people. Man, first half of the 20th century was a weird time. Moving on. The two agents make some threats to try and get the documents, because they can't find them on them. They don't know what they're talking about. Oh, well, maybe they do, you know. Well, while the agents go stew, a native takes a shine to Jeff.
What's eating on you, woman? What's so funny? You ain't no Maxine Sullivan yourself.
Mason convinces Jeff to play up to her, whereupon she gets him some clothes like a native, and he tries to get away, but he's caught and brought before the chief.
I didn't know such a thing. I was walking along there tending to my own business. Ouch! Rack-a-sack-a-sack, two for the neck.
Oh, I say, would you mind repeating that? And take off that beastly disguise. It irks me.
I think we're about to get a most unexpected surprise.
Raka-saka-saka, Jubilo.
Well, look here, large brother. My name's Jeff Jones.
I am Chief Majowo.
Turns out the chief is a lodge brother of Jeff. What fortuitousness. Well, since they're lodge brothers, he lets the other two go. He's going to help them get back to the coast and all that, but Grossman shows up. He's not having it, pulls a gun, and we finally get a little action. Wow, that was not much of a fight. But bad guys are captured. Everybody's happy. Oh, except for Jeff, because he learned some unfortunate, for him, news.
What does scrambola mean in your language?
Why, it's a proposal of marriage.
It is.
Yes. Oh, by the by, my little sister informed me that you've tendered such a proposal to her. I want you to know that I shall be very, very happy to have you as a brother-in-law.
Oops. Well, Jeff has a perfectly reasonable way of dealing with that.
Uh-oh. Keep it. Scrambola? Scrambola. If you do, you got to catch me.
Keep it.
And as for our star-crossed lovers, he finally figures it out. Finally! This isn't really a good film. Very little action. I think I showed you most of it right in the clips. The acting's okay. It follows the usual jungle adventure tropes, safari, enemy agents. Well, it was the 40s. Stalwart hero. It could have been a western the way he plays it. I don't really quite buy him as a paleontologist, but that's neither here nor there. He barely does any paleontology anyways. In fact, if it wasn't for Mantan, there'd be no point in watching this. It'd be a boring film. He makes it enjoyable with his asides and one-liners. I haven't even shown you his best bit, which I've kept for after the credits, because it's my favorite of all the things he does. But getting back to this, the action is almost non-existent. The only part I really liked, aside from Mantan, was the gorilla, played by Emil Van Horn, who was basically an ape actor. He played gorillas in a lot of movies. Jungle Girl, Perils of Naoka, Professor Creeps, The Ape Man. Just, you need a gorilla? He was your go-to. If you couldn't get him, Ray Crash Corrigan would probably step in. He was an ape actor too when he wasn't doing other things, like westerns and sci-fi stuff. But back to this film. Yeah, it's basically just a showcase for Mantan. The rest of it is just kind of negligible. There's not really much else to say about it. Please hit like, share, and subscribe. And remember, best scene is coming up after the credits.
Mr. Larry, jeepers, ain't this a situation? Cannibals on the right of me, cannibals on the left of me, and me with no life insurance.